Hi everyone, welcome back to Cat's Book Corner, where we talk about all things book and bookish. Now today I am going to talk about the first 9 books that I read on my TBR. The only one I haven't read yet is Lightlark, which I will be taking up to school with me, so I will finish it. So this will be firstly non-spoiler at the beginning part, and then I will warn everyone when the spoilers will be coming in. Alright, let's get started. The first book we have is Master of One by Jada Jones and Danny Bennett. Now, this one promotes it a little bit of Six of Crows, but it's not really Six of Crows. This one was a solid 4. It was very easy to read. The chapters are short, and a lot of the characters are pretty good. There are some that I don't like, but otherwise, it was a very good book. There are a couple characters. One, his name is Rags. I like him. He reminds me a little bit of Cuffs from the Demon King a little bit, and a little bit of Kaz, who's my favorite. So I did enjoy this one. There are a couple other characters in here, like, let's see, Cab was one. And there was the weakling prince, Solomon. I liked him as well. Moving on to next book, Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Now, this one has a little funny story. It's a 5-star because, well, what happened was I thought it was going to be a 4.75 because it's the first book of a series. They're normally not all 5 stars. But I read it. I thought I put 4.75 on my list, and I looked back at it a couple days later and I realized it was a 5. So I'm like, if my brain thought this was a 5-star, I'm going to say it was. And I kind of hate myself that I didn't read this sooner because I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite books I read this year. Well, not this year, but last year. Because, well, it's 2025 now. Now let's go on to Kingdom of the Wicked by Kara Maniscalco. This one was a 4.5 star. I really enjoyed it. I love that it takes place in Italy and there's a lot of Italian phrases that are nice. I really liked the premise of it with a sister trying to figure out what happened to her twin. And I liked how magic worked in this. I thought it was really interesting. So there's that one. Then it is Freeing Lindenhurst Into the Tunnels by Al Cassidy. Now this is the second one in the series. I didn't like it as much. I liked the first one a lot better. This one was a 3.75. I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. I didn't think it was necessary. There were parts of it that I felt could have been resolved in the first book, and then they brought up plot points that I thought were resolved in the first book, so I didn't understand why they were all here, but I did enjoy it. Now we are going to Sea Witch by Sarah Henning. This was a solid 4-star. I love retellings, especially when the villain gets like a backstory. Like I read Hooked, the dark romance, and I really enjoyed that one. But I like this one too because we get to see why she became a sea witch and like all the things about that. I really enjoyed that. Okay, now we've got The One That Got Away with Murder. This one was a 4.5, and it is by Trish Lundy. I think this is her first book. I really, really liked it. I normally don't do thrillers because I don't like not knowing how to feel about characters, and normally in fantasy you know that going in. But I enjoyed it. I liked how certain things were a surprise, like how the others are. And I think Robbie was my favorite character. He was just adorable. So then I think we have my least favorite book of the entire TBR, Gilded by Marissa Meyer. This is 3 stars. I hated it. There are parts of it that I did enjoy, like a lot of the characters are, it's easy to read also too. I finished this in like a day. It's very easy to read. but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like the ending. And I get why they're doing it because of Rumpelstiltskin retelling. So I get why there are certain plot points. It's just I don't really enjoy those plot points. Now we have Dance with Dragons, which is the 5th Game of Thrones book that's out. This is a 4.5. It's higher than some of the other ones. I think this is my favorite of the Game of Thrones books. And it was a reread. I was just tabbing all my things together, putting them all together. And I do like, I do hate where it leads off because who knows if we're going to get the next book. But I do like how there's a lot of differences from the show, because some parts in the show I didn't like as much as I should, but there are some parts that I did like better in the show, like with the first couple seasons at least. Now we are going to the last book I read, actually just finished it about an hour ago, Gone by Michael Grant. This was a 3.75. It was a very easy read. I enjoyed it. It reminds me a lot of, I don't know if that show is still on anywhere, but the Spartacle Experiment, where all of the adults go missing and the kids have to sort of fend for themselves. That's what I think the series is going to be, because I am going to read the series eventually, but I did enjoy this one. Okay, now we're going to go into spoilers. I think we're going to start with Master of One, so let me get it. Let me get Master of One. Here we go. Master of One. It starts off with Rags, who is captured by one of the wizards, who we don't get to see their faces, and they're like aligned with the queen, and they use like mirror magic, which I think is an interesting way of magic. And he's said that he has to go through the Fey ruins to find like the secret treasure, and he finds Shining Talon, and I adore Shining Talon. He's such a cute Fey, and it's like their little romances throughout. And you meet Cab, who's a disloyal soldier who ran away because he was a coward. Well, he thinks he's a coward. And the treasure is like this weapon that brings humans and Fae together. I really enjoyed that. And like there's a resistance fighting the queen, and then you have Solomon, who's the queen's youngest son, who is completely disfigured. And like each of them gets like a piece that sort of like comes into themselves. Like Cab got this little lizard that runs around, and one of them has a cat that's completely made out of their own silverware, and Solomon's was even his own brace that turned into an owl. Like, I really enjoyed that. And even at the end where Rags feels guilty about using the bond he has with Shining Talon to get him to leave, but Shining Talon, like, knows, like, that's why. And, like, they kiss. I think it's so cute. Then, I don't like the wizard, which I don't think you're supposed to like, and the scene where they go into that room and they see all the Fae just being drained on the bed, that stopped me. Like, that was kind of traumatizing, but it was really enjoyable. I really liked it. Okay, moving on to A Court of Thorns and Roses. I know why everyone loves it now. I love Feyre. She's awesome. She's awesome, and she's like fighting. And I understand, like, at least one of her sisters. I forget her name, but the older one who saw through all of the tricks and even went to try and go find her. I understood her. I don't like Tamlin that much. I feel like he could have done, like, a little more to try and help her, but I like Rhysand so much. I know everyone likes Rhysand. Like, I like him now. And I'm so excited to read the next books. Like, this was so interesting. And I love Lucien. He's like, he kind of reminds me a little of Styles Selinsky, actually. Like, he's the comedic relief. I really liked him. I like the little relationship that he and Feyre have, like, where they're together. And I like at the end where she's like, you could have taken all the weeks. And I would have said yes because of how injured I was. He's like, I know. Like, I feel like he actually likes her. I was like, it's so cute. So yeah, I did enjoy that one. Then Kingdom of the Wicked, which As I said, it's Italian. It takes place, I think around Sicily, actually, like a long time ago. And she summons like the demon of wrath to like help her figure out what happened to her sister. And like people are killing people who are promised to the devil, like because he's under a curse or something. And one of her sister was that. So now they're just using their magic to try and figure out why. And her and Wrath like sort of have a relationship, which I really like. I think it's kind of fun how they bounce off each other with their taunts. But the end is kind of heartbreaking. But I think I understand why, because there is 2 more books in the series, and I think I understand why the ending was like that. Because she accepts the deal with the devil. She's the one who's like, fine, I'll be your bride. And she even brings the guy that she had a crush on before, who killed her sister, like the brother guy, like the priest. And then she accepts the deal, and Wrath shows up when you think he's dead, and he doesn't say anything. He's like, ugh. He's so cold to her. But I do like the nicknames they have for each other, even though it's just what they are. They call each other demon and witch, which I really liked. But I think I know why he's being colder to her, because he can't let Pride know that he actually likes her. That's why I think, at least, because I do like Wrath. I like how like straightforward he is. He's like, if you're trying to kill someone, you don't scream at them. And fleeing Lindenhurst into the tunnels. What I didn't like is he had like not really a good relationship with his dad, and that was like one of the best parts of the first one. He had such a close relationship with his dad because that was all he had left after his mom left. And I guess it's supposed to be like his teenage going through the traumatic experience he went through, but then no one's believing him about the ghosts. I'm like, you saw them in the sky. Why are we not believing him? Why are we calling him Ghost Boy? I did like the ghost hunters though. I like how he sort of made friends with Holland. I think that was his name. And like how they had similar experiences kind of. And Mose, I love Mose so much. He's so protective of Jack and Celia, which I really like. I did like the ghost hunters, and I like at the end how his dad trusted him. It was like, I understand what I gotta do. And I know King was the villain, but I really liked King because he was doing it just for his the love of his life who got taken from him, and then he found out that his daughter was still alive and he had a grandchild. I liked that. And then it kind of ends on a cliffhanger because someone comes in saying a ghost told her that she had to go see Mose. So I don't know if there will be another one. I don't think this one was very widely well received because... Okay, then we got Sea Witch, which is like the backstory of why she became Ursula, kind of. And it's really strange actually, because she was a witch, and it's like in a Nordic town, so there's a lot of Viking inspiration. I think that's where the fairy tale comes from originally. And there's 2 princes. There's Eric and Nick. And Evie, at first you think, oh, she's in love with Eric. And like they seem to have a good relationship. And then they, Anna, who was their friend before, drowned like years ago. And then suddenly someone who looked exactly like Anna comes back. And Evie immediately is like, oh, this is Anna. This has to be Anna. But we find out she's a mermaid. And then we find out, like, through, like, little retellings, you get, like, her perspective. You get, like, exactly what happened on that day. That the Sea King brought her to be his daughter and, like, gave her new life. And she's like, well, I didn't want that. I want to go kill Evie and Nick because they left me. And then she kills her dad, which I'm like, why? And then Nick admits his feelings to Evie, like he's always loved her and he never would have loved this new Anna who showed up. And he loved her even though she was a witch, which I thought was so cute, even though Eric legitimately turned against her the moment he could. He was like, oh, she's a witch, go get her, which kind of turned me off from him. And then she sacrifices herself to save Nick. Like, she uses the spell that's used in the beginning to trade life, but like because of the spell she's been doing in the ocean, it sort of like replenishes her and gives her those tentacles. Now there's a sequel. I think it's about the actual Little Mermaid tale, but like we get bits of her perspective. And even at the end, like when she takes the voice from the mermaid, she's like, well, it won't work, but her family will want to reverse it, so I'm going to prepare the knife. So it's like the old retelling where she had to kill the prince in order to get her mermaid tail back. So I am interested for the second one. Okay, The Ones Who Got Away with Murder. It's about these two brothers. My little sister, Elizabeth, actually picked this book from me when we were in the bookstore. And it's about these two brothers who are extremely wealthy in this smaller town in Pennsylvania, who are accused of killing their girlfriends. And both in like weird ways that can't be proven or disproven that they did it. And then in comes, what's her name? Lauren. In comes Lauren, who has a traumatic past of her own from California. And she ends up entangled with Robbie. And Robbie is so cute. Like, what happened was, she found, like, damning evidence that seemed like that Robbie was guilty of his girlfriend's murder. And so she hides in, like, a bedroom, like, when they're on vacation together. And he's like, are you okay? Are you sick? And she's like, oh, I'm just on my period. And when she walks out of the room when he's gone, on the floor there's like little chocolates and a heating pad. He's like, get better. He's like, feel better. I'm like, he's adorable. And we find out her past is because she didn't want to be like beholden to anyone, and someone was holding like this gross leverage over her and her boyfriend from California, and she set fire to that evidence so it wouldn't like tie back to her, and it ended up causing her boyfriend to catch fire and be permanently disfigured, and everyone thinks she purposely did it. I did call who the killer was. I figured that out, but I still liked the big twist at the end. Like, they're trying to figure it out, and then even Robbie's brother, who's the other person accused, is killed. And, like, there's, like, evidence that says he killed both of them, but then Robbie's like, absolutely not. It could not be him. So it's John, who's Robbie's best friend, Robbie and Lauren, who team up to figure out who did this. And even two people from her soccer team who were friends with the other two. And it's actually her mom's boyfriend who did it, which I'm like, oh my gosh, that I saw it coming, but like still, because he was always around, he wanted like an excuse to be around all the girls. I'm like, still creepy. But I did like Ainsley too, even though she did awful things. I did like her. She was a good character too. And she even was like, her dad was awful. She was like, well, if I stayed around, I probably would have been killed, so thanks, Lauren, even though they didn't get off to the best of starts. And then she clears her past, and then her and Robbie actually end up together. And I really, really liked it. Then moving on to Gilded. Hate it. It's a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. And it's about Serilda, who was blessed by the god of lies, who is actually the god of stories. And I do like that little Loki inspiration, kind of. And I did like that. And she tells a lie to the Arrow King, who's like this dark king who arrives on full moons with like the Wild Hunt. And she tells a lie that she can spin straw into gold. And we know what goes on from there. And she meets Gild, not Rumpelstiltskin, because he's a cursed prince. She doesn't remember his name. And like you figure that out through her stories, because she's been telling the truth through stories. That's what it is. Like, that's her power that the god of lies gave her, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed that part of her figuring that out. Like, everything that she's been telling is just stories are actually true. I did like that. But I don't like, I mean, I get why they're doing the romance with Gild instead of like it just being like, give me your baby and I'll do this. I mean, I get it. I don't like how the unexpected pregnancy trope comes in. I mean, I get it saves her life from the Arrow King, saying that, oh, my magic's gone, it's in my baby. But she doesn't even tell Gild that it's his baby. I mean, come on. I don't like the unexpected pregnancy trope. I get why they did it, because it's a Rumpelstiltskin thing, so the trait always had to come in where, like, give me your firstborn child and I'll do this. So technically, it's their firstborn child. Like, I get it. But now she's trapped there and is forced to marry the Arrow King, who wants to bring his love, Pershta, back. Like, from the afterlife, kind of. So, I will read the second one because it's a duology. Because there are parts of it that I enjoyed, because it is a 3-star, it's not a 1. So, I will read the second one. And I did like Gild. I liked him. He was a cute main character. And I like Cyril, though. There was just a lot of tropes that I don't really like normally. Then Dance of Dragons, which is the 5th Game of Thrones book. I really like the differences in the book, from the show. And Arya is only like 2 chapters, and it's like her blind part where like she's blind and she's trying to figure it out. Sansa's not in this one, but Jon is. He actually is. This is the one where he ends up getting killed by his own men, which I do like because it made me cry in the show. Like, I hated it in the show, even though I don't like Jon as a character. He's like one of my least favorite characters, along with Bran. Bran also finds the three-eyed raven in here, and he gets different visions of the Starks. Let's see what else is happening. Oh, Cersei did her walk of shame in this one, which in the show it's even worse to watch, even when you're reading it. What else happened? Oh, we see Theon like get his strength back because he's like his first chapter in here is Reek, where he fully believes he's Reek and doesn't want to disappoint Ramsay, who I hate. I hate Ramsay so much. I want him to die. And then what happens is Ramsay is given the fake Arya to marry. He was actually Sansa's friend who went to King's Landing with her. And they're like selling her off as Arya because no one knows where Arya is. She's missing. So I did enjoy that. And like he's getting his identity back. Like, I am Theon Greyjoy. I am Winterfell's prince. I should have died along with my brother Robb. Like, he's getting that redemption arc, which I like. And he gets to see his sister Aisha again. He's like, I recognize you now this time, sister. I really liked that. And with Daenerys, she is forced into marrying someone in Meereen in order to stop the killings from happening. And even her new husband tries to kill her. And then she rides off on Drogon's back to where the Dothraki are. And then she gets captured by the Dothraki. At least I think, because it ends with the Dothraki circling her. And then we also get Tyrion, who is captured by Mormont to bring to Daenerys, even though she's missing at the time. And we get something that wasn't very talked about in the show, that Aegon, Rhaegar's son, is still alive, and he's trying to get his place back on the Iron Throne with Lord Corrington, which I do enjoy because there's 2 Targaryens now. And Varys even wants this Aegon on the throne. Like, he wants Griff on the throne. He even kills Kevin Lannister to do it. So I really did like this one. And lastly, Gone. Like I said, it's about the Spartacle experiment. It's kind of like the Spartacle experiment where all the adults and people over the age of 15 just go missing. And Sam, who doesn't want the leadership on him, but it normally is because he did something heroic years back, and everyone's like, oh, it's gotta be Sam. And Astrid, who they have crushes on each other, and then like there's little Petey who is autistic, but he, I think, is the most powerful of all because certain kids have powers. Like Sam can shoot fire, not fire, but like a light that burns people out of his hands. And we see Kane, he's from Coates, this like prestigious school where rich people send their kids who they don't want to go to juvie. And there's just, I think his name is Drake, he's awful, he's a psychopath, which I did enjoy then. And you see Lana, who learns her power is healing and like is saving everyone. I did enjoy it. And you find out that Kane is actually Sam's twin brother, and you don't know why his mom separated both of them. And Pete's the one who caused it because a meltdown was happening, and he stopped the meltdown. But it also caused everyone to disappear. And there are a bunch of other characters, like Quinn. I don't really like Quinn that much because he betrayed his best friend, and like him and his best friend weren't getting along, and I didn't understand why that was happening. But then he had a redemption arc, and he saved everyone, which, I mean, good for you. And you get like so many like different people of the town. Like you get Mary, who's helping the preschoolers. You get Dana, who's helping with the hospital, kind of. You get a bunch of kids from Coates. You get Lana, you get Sam, you get Astrid, you get Quinn. You get this guy named Albert who's running the McDonald's to help feed everyone, who like doesn't really know what to do. And like I really enjoyed it because I like the Spartacle experiment. It was a good show when I watched it last time. So, and you also get a bunch of the bullies' perspectives too. Like you get Orc and his friend Howard. And like everyone is sort of becoming accustomed to these powers, even though it scares a lot of them. but I did enjoy it. I am going to read the next one. I think it's called Hunger, which is when they're running out of food because, well, they can't grow anything. Or they don't know how yet, at least. And they're running out of actual food. So I am excited to eventually read the next one. Well, those are all the books I read over the past Christmas break. I enjoyed most of them, and it had a very good 5-star, which is Court of Thorns and Roses. Now, the next video I will post, or the video that was before this, I don't know when I'm posting them, will be about the books I got for Christmas and my next TBR. Alright, everyone. I hope you liked it. Please comment down below if you did, and please subscribe. Bye!